Returning to ship.
Alright, and we're back once again today, and today, as you can probably notice, we're playing the Yamato, the ship with the biggest guns. Well, until the Yoshima / Shikishima, I don't even know what they renamed it to, but until that ship comes out, this ship has the biggest guns in the game, and I intend to be using them today. Now, I've played a decent amount of the Yamato. I haven't played it recently, but I thought, you know, how better to get back into playing battleships than playing probably one of the most rewarding battleships, if played correctly. That being said, we are defending the right-hand flank today. They do have a Minotaur, a Yamato, a Kurfürst, Venezia, and a Gearing on this flank. We do have a Gearing of our own, and I'm pushing relatively aggressively. Generally, this is, even for a Yamato, this is a little bit further ahead than I'd like to be. I do decide to aim at the Minotaur. I could pen the Kurfürst, I could pen the Yamato, but, you know, you have to have a priority, and the priority is the cruiser always, in this scenario. We do manage to get one overpen, which, in retrospect, is probably all you're going to get from the Minotaur. Unless he's probably sailing straight at you, where you can get your shells to pen straight through him. So straight through the bow, straight through the entire length of the ship, and then at that point they'll probably penetrate. But if you're, especially with the shell velocity on these shells, if you're just shooting at a ship full broadside, especially a Minotaur, as you can see, you're probably just likely to get overpens. But that being said, I've been hoping to get some time on the public test server, because I know submarines have just been released on the public test server, and that's something I really want to try out really quickly. So that's probably going to be the next video, a little bit of summary of the submarine gameplay, so look out for that. That being said, I'm not actually looking forward to the submarines coming into the game all that much. It just feels, it feels like the game's becoming overcrowded with so many different things. You know, a CV reworks one thing, submarines being introduced now just crowds the map so much more. But it is going to be, at the same time, it's going to be interesting to see how the different dynamics actually play into the game. We do manage to get a very, you know, I don't want to say lucky, but very kind of unexpected citadel on the Yamato. That being said, at this point, I know the torpedoes are going to come from the gearing straight down here, so I was in two minds whether to accelerate or stop. I decided to accelerate because eventually I can get towards this rock right here, and I'll be out of spotting range from the Venezia, from the Yamato, and from that Kurfürst. I'm not actually sure if the Kurfürst can get shelled over that island and down in time, but I'll be, you know, out of the range of fire of a lot of these ships. That being said though, the Yamato is a very selective BB. And by selective, I mean you have to be very selective about how you use your shells. Because, you know, with a 30-second cooldown, or 25 seconds on this thing, generally you're only going to get probably about 30 shots off in the entire game, as we get another beautiful salvo on the enemy Yamato. You know, you're not going to get all that many shots, so you have to really make them count. And the HE on the ship, obviously, you're never going to be using HE. Unless you're, you know you're going to be 1v1ing like a DD or something. So you really have to make your shells count. And I hope I give a little bit of an example about how to do that. I see the Minotaur slowly starting to accelerate. And he does decide to turn in, which means my shells can actually pen. We get one pen, we get one citadel, and he goes down. Beautiful. That being said, I'm aware the gearing still is right there in front of me, so I have to turn out. But in turning out, I do avoid fire from the Yamato, but what it doesn't protect me from is fire from the GK. And as you're going to see in a second, I get extremely well punished for that. And it just plays into the fact that you need to be aware of your position at all times. Boom. 20k salvo. And that's just a mistake on my behalf. I just got a little bit too greedy. I thought I got angle away from the gearing, and still managed to get all my guns on the Yamato. But in retrospect, it was just an overly greedy mistake from me, and something I'll learn from. Now, that being said, I don't know... Playing the Yamato feels very... It's like you're going from one extreme to the other. You know, usually you're playing DDs, and you get to zoom around the map, you get to knife fight, you get torp, you get to be so impactful in the game. But when you play the Yamato, it's like you go from a really massive box of possibilities to just one possibility. Because you're not that tanky, you can't push in that well, otherwise you're going to get farmed. You just have to set a long range and hope that your aim is good enough to actually affect the game. But that being said, if you can make it effective, it's an incredibly fun playstyle. Well, I said fun playstyle, it's incredibly rewarding in terms of damage numbers, which is, you know, what everybody wants to have. But, you know, I think I've said enough about the Yamato. Now, there is submarines coming to the public test server, and as I mentioned previously, I really want to start playing them, but recently, I think I got the public test server, but I forgot to download it. So, it's in the process of downloading right now, so hopefully by tomorrow I'll have some better intuition on how the submarine is going to work. I've been watching a little bit of clips, a little bit of gameplay, and there's been a few complaints, to say the least, about submarines being introduced into the game. And I think Wargaming is basically having a really difficult time introducing concepts into the game that don't disproportionately affect different ship classes. And when I say disproportionately affecting different ship classes, I mean DDs. Is yet another thing that DDs are going to probably be disproportionately affected by. Which isn't... I don't think it's terrible, but man, being a DD player is pretty rough. You do have the greatest impact in the game, but you have the greatest chances of messing the game up for your team too at the same time. And it's something you basically need a lot of experience in. Now, I hope this doesn't go the same way as carriers, and it pretty much just eliminates the viability of DDs, but I don't see that happening. I think DDs are still going to be a really important part of the game. I just think it's going to make it a lot more unfun, shall we say. But that being said, this is speculation on my behalf. Don't take it 100% seriously, especially not until I get, you know, a better idea of how the gameplay is actually going to work. That being said though, we're doing something that you shouldn't usually do on the Yamato here. We are pushing in. I hope to get a little shot on the curve first, but seeing as the Moskva is just about to finish him off, he has got a couple of fires on him, and that's just the way it's going to go. The curve first does go down, and the Venezia is still hiding behind that rock. Now at this point, I know the gearing died, but I know there's torps coming straight at me. Luckily the Moskva spots them for me. I heal up. And I am aware of the Venezia torps too. Venezia torps, there's only 3 on each side. I'm not all that worried about them, but it's still something to be wary of. We're going to charge straight in, use the Moskva as a little bit of a shield, and hopefully we can get some shots on the Venezia right here. I do have a 25-second cooldown, although he just got destroyed by that ship. We do pick up that kill very greedily, shall we say, or a little bit of a kill steal right there, but you know, it's more of a kill secure than a kill steal, shall we say. That being said, we still are mainly focused on the Venezia. The game's pretty much wrapped up at this point, and games seem to be going this way recently. These just seem to be really one-sided, just really stumpfest, which, you know, it isn't really all that much enjoyable. And it's probably why I've been playing a little bit less of the game recently. You know, I still do play fairly often, but just not as much as I used to. And especially not battleships, that's for sure. Now, this shot was terrible for a multitude of reasons. A, the Venezia was way too angled, and B, I aimed way too low. I do correct this mistake slightly, which means I do get better penetrations, but again, Yeah, I have to remember to switch different aiming types. You know, if that was a Royal Navy cruiser, I would be aiming a lot higher. I would aim the way I did on the first shot, but because it's an Italian cruiser, you have to aim the waterline and hope you get those pens and citadels. We do end up getting the citadels, which is always nice, and we do end up getting the kills. The game ends, and we are successful. But until next time, I'll see you in the next one.